So, Katie, I know on this program, and then just in ministry in general, even you could say just in life in general, we focus on the successes and the when things are flourishing, and that's what goes online, and that's what we tell about our lives. And then for those moments in a career or in a life when there's less flourishing, when it's a little more fallow, there's just some shame about it. Like we just don't talk about that. Oh, is she doing okay? When actually they're pretty important moments in life and in ministry. Has that been true for you?
That's been so true. I continually go back to the closing of our coffee shop, which you'll hear a little bit about it in the sermon. It was really a crash and burn kind of experience. It was painful, and maybe more painful than even I describe. And yet, I reflect on it as a moment when I learned to not be afraid, of spreadsheets anymore, to not be afraid of, afraid of raising money anymore, afraid of failure anymore. Because I think for God, those are often, they're cleansing moments and they're clarifying moments. So what became so clear to me in the death of this vision of this coffee shop ministry is that church has nothing to do really with the structures that we put around it. Institution and structure is helpful and even necessary, but it doesn't define what church is. And so 5 days after we had to make this really painful decision to close this ministry, there were like 50 people who showed up at church that Sunday, not to say goodbye, not to honor the end, but to say, so where are we meeting next week?
Was that frustrating? Were you like, where were you before?
Well, they were there before. I mean, they had always been there, but that was their question wasn't, how are we going to shut this down together? Their question was, okay, well, just give me an address and I will show up there, because they understood something that I hadn't taken to heart yet, which was that the church wasn't the building and the church wasn't the coffee shop structure. They were the church. And so they just knew wherever we show up, we will have church. And it took me a while to fully understand that. And I think COVID was helpful. It was helpful to me, but I think it was helpful to a lot of our churches to just detach from kind of the trimmings and the trappings of what we think church is supposed to be, and I think God was calling us back to what is the essence of 2 or 3 or 25 or 150 being gathered, that the Holy Spirit will be amongst us.
That is so inspiring and so true. Yep.